Hi, my name is Dina Fisher. Some of you may know me. Chances are, if you're here with me on Facebook, it's because you've been a part of my life at some point as a friend or family, and I thank you for your part in my journey. Thank you for tuning in and for being here. I tried doing this on a live recording, and somehow the connection just wasn't working with Facebook. So I'm pretty stubborn, and I decided to come here and do it this way anyway and share it with you. Um, I'm going to get a little bit vulnerable, and I hope you don't mind me as I take a deep dive into my story, my unlikely story. This whole crazy upside down world right now, it's got me reflecting. Um, Today, while super social distance hiking, it dawned on me that it's so unlikely that I live in the Mexican desert. This fair skinned Canadian who deeply loves the forest and getting all bundled up in scarves and changing seasons and snow. I mean, how the heck did I get to be here? Now going on for 2 decades, a single mom for the past decade and trying to build a home, trying to keep the roof on, trying to raise my two daughters and run my own small business. First off, let me say, this is not a bitch session, not at all. On the contrary, I'm so freaking grateful for all the amazing people in my life, love and friendships. And I'm feeling like, even though we may be connected this way, so many of you, I'm not in regular contact. And I don't know the details of your lives anymore, because I've really sucked at staying in contact, and I want to do better. So I'm a Canadian living in the Mexican desert, now going on for 20 years. Life gets busy, everyone has their own lives, and I realize that I'd really like to get to know you again. I don't want to be that friend that just lost contact. And I'm kind of really over the excuse of always being too busy. It's always an excuse, I guess, that I live in Mexico and I'm so far away. But that's not really an excuse anymore because technology is just so easy to use. So life is busy and for everyone. And during this time when I've had some downtime and been able to reflect possibly, it's been confusing. And I really feel like I need to do a better job of reaching out and being in touch, especially with the people that have been so important in my journey and that I've known for so long along the way and loved you. So, in order to do that, I feel like I need you to know who I am. So, I'll start. I'm going to get vulnerable right now, and I hope you don't mind that I share a bit of my story with you. So, let's go way back. I grew up in West Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, a very privileged neighborhood, and I would literally give my right arm or maybe even other body parts to be able to offer my children the incredible opportunities and that environment that I was so blessed to know growing up. I didn't know at the time how blessed I was. And I feel like at many points in my life, I've forgotten to be present and just be so grateful. I learned a super strong work ethic from my dad, my wonderful dad. Thank you, Dad. And so here I'm in touch with family, mom, dad, siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, through marriage and divorce. And I've got friends on here from kindergarten through university and many years working in hotels in Canada, friendships and contacts from many, many jobs I've held over the years, and friends that have become like family, amazing clients that have also become friends. I love you all, and I thank each and every one of you. Um, some of you now that I haven't even had the privilege of meeting yet, I think. But okay, so my question was, how did I get here? Living in the Mexican desert, raising my two daughters, running a small business, creating high-end, fancy, unique, special occasion cakes for very special clientele, and now a whole new life-changing, natural lifestyle and business. So after high school, I failed at an attempt in sciences at university. It just turns out that calculus and I are not friends. Then I had an opportunity that came up to go to Switzerland to be a nanny. And I was supposed to go for 6 months, but I loved it so much. I stayed for a year and a half, and I'm so grateful. I love my Swiss family. So no sooner had I gone back to UBC than to study arts, which I found out was a much better fit for my brain. I left again to go live with my dear friend in Florence, Italy. Tim, I love you. And I was living and working over there, and then back again to UBC and determined to finish my Bachelor of Arts degree, which all in all, it took me 7 years to complete a 4-year program because I kept running away to Europe, but it was worth every single second because it helped me to make who I am today. So at one point, still in university, my mom gifted a trip to Cabo at New Year's. And little did I know that the guy I met on that vacation would eventually become my husband. And 6 years into our marriage, we would move to Mexico and start a family. I have two beautiful girls. Um, then I had a hobby that grew, and I started a baking business for which I thank my lucky stars every single day. Something that was my passion became my calling, and it supports my family. So, fast forward, a very difficult divorce and massive life changes. Now, being a single mom and trying like hell to do my best for my girls and find a new identity for myself in a foreign country with no family around me. And I was very grateful for friends that became like family. I managed to buy a piece of property and I started building a whole epic experience of trying to complete the construction on our home. And then I'm not going to bore you with those details, but that's a whole other story. But let's just say that at the beginning, I thought that it was all charming and, funny when I said that this home would be built one cake at a time. A decade later, it's not so funny anymore. And it definitely doesn't feel charming anymore. So, being a single mom, a small business owner in Mexico, it's been, how do I say this? Hard. It's been rewarding and scary and stressful and sometimes humiliating and exhilarating and often absolutely freaking exhausting. I've felt frequently like I'm running a daily marathon and I never really seem to get ahead. And that's been a struggle. And we've always had food on our table, but there have been many, many times that I've been down to my last dollar. And too many times I've heard the words coming out of my mouth to my kids that we don't have money for that, or we can't afford it, or say no when I wanted to offer them opportunities, trips, new clothes, shoes, or oh gosh, tuition for school. So trying to single-handedly build a house as a woman in this often very chauvinistic society where I live, and trying very hard to get ahead, but feeling like I don't really ever get there. So just when I think I might be starting to get ahead, we get hit by a massive economic crash, and then went through a traumatic divorce and all the fallout from that. And years later, my boyfriend almost being killed, followed by devastating Hurricane Odile that flattened Cabo and damaged our home I hadn't even finished yet. So, and from then, without work for so long. So I was just trying to pick up the pieces and get ahead. And now the whole world has shut down with COVID. So, you know, sometimes I really wonder what the heck I'm doing here. But here's the thing, I will always be an optimist. I understand how incredibly important it is to be deeply and wildly and so passionately grateful for what we have. We're very lucky. And if you look at the positives, I have two beautiful, amazing daughters. We have our health. And I can be very proud at least that I've managed to build the portion of our home that I have. I'm proud of the quality of the work that I have brought to my cake clients over these decades. Creations that I've literally poured blood, sweat, and tears into. Okay, well, not blood, but I love my cakes. I do. But this business, my cakes, I'm going to be real. This pace, it's going to kill me. The market has changed, and now the world has changed. And let's face it, I'm not getting any younger. I mean, I have a huge birthday coming up at the end of this year. And my crazy cake schedule and staying up all night and baking and decorating and sometimes maybe getting like 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night and then getting up and starting it all over again. It's lacking balance. Sometimes 20 hours a day, and it's paid a tremendous toll on my relationships with my kids, um, sometimes my patience, and my health. So, for a good portion of my life, I suffered from tremendous headaches. I mean, debilitating migraines that would find me curled up in a ball in a dark room until I vomited afterwards. And the doctors couldn't tell me what it was. I remember at one point back when I was a starving student and they would ask me if I was combining red wine and chocolate, and I just kind of laughed at them, like as if I could afford that. So fast forward to a few years ago on vacation at a market in Vancouver, I bought a roller of peppermint, like a bottle of peppermint oil from some random lady at some random table in Granville Island because she said it might help me with my headaches. And to be honest, at the very least, it was refreshing and it did help a bit. But at the time, I didn't understand anything. I didn't have a clue about the quality of oils or how they worked or anything about a natural lifestyle. But a start is a start, right? So then a few years ago, that roller was getting low and I wanted some peppermint to fill it up. And I had absolutely no idea where to get oils here in Mexico because most of the time that I've been living here, it was a struggle to get natural products. Natural lifestyle choices were pretty slim to non-existent. So I noticed an acquaintance of mine I'd met through weddings posted something on Facebook about oils, and I reached out to her. Thank you, Amanda. All I really wanted was peppermint and maybe some lavender. And instead, I took her suggestion to get a starter kit, and I bought it for myself for my birthday just over 3 years ago now. And I absolutely know, you guys, I know to the core of my being that other than becoming a mom, this was the very best decision I ever made in my whole life. But I just didn't know it yet. So I had absolutely no idea that in that little box I had in my hands that it would change my life. Not only health-wise, but training me about the massively dangerous toxins I had allowed into our home where I was raising my girls and doing my very best to try and keep them healthy and safe. And yet I was willingly purchasing super harsh and toxic cleaners and products at the grocery store and using them on them from as early as baby bubble bath all the way through to makeup and hair products and floor cleaners and bleach and plug-ins and dryer sheets and smelly scented candles and air fresheners. I mean, what I've learned along this oily journey in recent years is that the cause of my headaches was almost guaranteed from the fact that I was drowning in nasty, toxic, synthetic chemicals with massive amount of products that I purchased from the store. All of these were supposedly to help keep my house and my kids clean and smelling nice. They're filled with endocrine disruptors and dangerous. but I didn't know it. So it's one thing if I want to protect my house and try and stay looking as young as possible, but and stay active. But when it comes to my girls, I want them to have the best opportunities possible. I want them to enjoy for their entire lives. I want them to be healthy, and should they decide to have families, you know, not have issues because their hormones are so out of balance from drowning in horrible toxic products for their entire life. It's just so unnecessary. So, with everything I've learned, needless to say, I felt massively, deeply in love with Young Living oils and oil infused products. And I just naturally couldn't shut up about it. So, for those of you that know me, I can talk and talk and talk. So, solar. I started sharing them, but I never ever meant for this to be a business. I didn't have time for that. I was too busy. I was always too busy. But it turns out that however you want to call it, so God or universe, has other plans for me. I truly, truly trust that when you are passionate about something, it is your calling, and you need to listen to that. I didn't know this stuff, and I wish somebody had told me decades ago. I cringe at the cesspool of harsh, toxic chemicals that I had my daughters and I swimming in unwittingly. So here I am, almost 2 decades into creating super fancy, high-end, beautiful, delicious cakes and creations, often for super VIP Hollywood and local clients, and I never even studied that. I've never even taken a real cooking class outside of high school. So from that to discovering an entirely new, ridiculously amazing world of essential oils and natural living, and now discovering my passion and mission to share what I've learned, because you guys, we are poisoning our families with store-bought stuff. Straight and simple. We are the gatekeepers to our homes, and I can't believe I didn't know this stuff. But now that I do, I feel like I almost need to scream it from the rooftops. It lights me on fire, and it gets me up in the morning, and it's all I want to do, sharing wellness. I know that every oil and product I use from Young Living is a chemical that I am no longer drowning in and subjecting my children and our fur baby to. So again, I never meant for this to be a business. It just kind of happened the same way that my cakes did. Along the way, I discovered the most phenomenal community and people that have become dear, dear friends and mentors. And if you know me at all, if you knew me back in high school, or we ever worked together, or we share blood, or you bought cakes from me, no matter what our connection is, I want so much for you and your family to experience this wellness and purpose and abundance that I've discovered. So, being real from the very bottom of my heart and soul, I know this is the best decision I ever made. You guys, Young Living is so much more than oils, and so much more than the other 300 some odd products, that they're life changing, and they help you get rid of those toxins. So for me, it's been an absolute lifeline, especially lately. It's been such an amazing journey of friendships and community and learning to dig deep, and self-discovery and personal development and passion, and being able to literally help change people's lives one drop at a time. I used to say that I spread sugar and that spread happiness, and I still do that with my fancy cakes. But now I share wellness one drop at a time. And you guys, this is residual income. If I didn't have this right now, I literally wouldn't even be able to keep the lights on. Grateful doesn't even begin to come close to cutting it to describe. So, just over a year ago, in May 2019, I reached the rank of executive. This past March, I reached the rank of silver. Next up is gold, and then diamond, and then crown diamond, and crown diamond. And I am not stopping, because every single time I share with someone, I know that it can alter the course of a family in terms of either their health and or potentially financially. And just legally, because I'm talking about financial stuff, I need to share with you the income disclosure sheet. So you can go to youngliving.com/IDS and see what I'm talking about. But this is so much more than just a little side gig for me now. Okay? This income opportunity is real, and it's not all talk. And it's for the ones who are consistent and committed and who don't give up. And trying to do this video earlier and trying to share it, and the internet kept dumping me out. I'm not giving up. I'm committed, and it's not just for the lucky, and it's not just for the few. And I know this to be true because I see it with my friends and mentors around me. I see it every day. You guys, if I can do this, you can do this. I do. I watch my friends and mentors working and climbing the ranks. And I know for a fact that there is room for me and for all of us. So, okay, getting off of that. I just really feel like there are a lot of people struggling, either financially or looking for purpose and community now more than ever. And I feel like it would almost be a disservice for me not to share this opportunity. I literally can't even begin to imagine where I would be if my enroller hadn't shared the business opportunity with me. I mean, it's completely optional. It's never an obligation. But the minute you start with the oils, you have an account with Young Living, you technically have a business in your back pocket. It's there. No overhead, no employees to pay, and you can do it however you want. So I'm doing it the way I want. I'm sharing with you from my heart and from my soul. And I've had some people that, will say, oh, I don't like, you know, um, pyramid schemes. Well, it's not a pyramid scheme. It's absolutely not. I mean, if you look up the definition of a pyramid scheme, you would understand, and I can share information about that. But this is real residual income, and it's the best thing on the planet. The fact that in building my business, I can will it to my children so that I know that they're taken care of after I'm gone. That's next level. I mean, I'm a single mom with no savings and no backup plan and no cushion and no retirement plan. I've worked for myself for almost 2 decades. I don't get a retirement. If I stop working today, I will never make another penny in my life. I mean, that's it. I have no backup plan. Everything I've earned, I've poured into raising my children and trying to build our home. And if it weren't for this opportunity coming into my life, I have absolutely no idea what I would do. I have debts I've been unable to pay off, and my goal is, and I plan to pay them back, and I know I will. And I am so freaking stubborn, I will get there. And I know that I will finish our home, and not just one cake at a time. It will be now also one drop at a time. So that's me. That's where I am. I just wanted to share. There is a solution, and I found it. And I know I'm not alone. Anyway, my journey has brought me to this place, and I'm beyond grateful. And I thank you for watching this, and I thank you for letting me be vulnerable. Um, if you made it this far, thank you for joining me, and please leave me a comment of where we met or how you know me. I hope we can be in touch. From the bottom of my heart, I send you love and health, healthiest wishes, and peace and joy. And if you are interested in natural lifestyle and you haven't already discovered Young Living, and you're interested in essential oils and kicking toxins to the curb, or are looking for a beautiful, supportive, amazing community, or a side income, or a new business, or you know anyone that is, I'm your girl. I'm your girl. And it would be my honor and privilege to come alongside you in your journey and help you every single step of the way. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening.